Welcome to the Airway Tab, a new feature of Invivo 6.0, which provides tools to measure and visualize the airway. To create an airway object, click on the Airway Measurement button in your toolbar, or use the Create button in your control panel. Left-click to place points along the airway in the direction of airflow. The points used to designate the beginning and end of the airway are up to the user. In this case, we will start level with the hard palate and end just below the epiglottis. Once you are finished, click the Apply button in your control panel or right-click to finalize the object. This tool measures length values across the anterior-posterior and left-right axes and generates two-dimensional area measurements down the length of the airway. These measurements are displayed in the interactive charts in the lower right rendering window. In the lower left rendering window, the tool compiles all the cross-sections to create a three-dimensional object and displays the total volume of the airway. The colors shown on the object are based on the cross-sectional area of each slice. The color minimum shows the minimum cross-sectional area where the object turns black, currently set to 50 square millimeters. The color increment, currently set to 25 square millimeters, indicates the difference in cross-sectional area between each color. For example, if it was determined that any airway with less than 50 square millimeters was at a high risk for obstructive sleep apnea, a user could set the increment to 50 and the minimum to 0 so that all segments of the airway with less than a 50 square millimeter area appear in red. The increment would then highlight the area of medium risk in orange between 50 and 100 square millimeters, and so on. The threshold value indicates the Hounsfield unit, or HU value, that differentiates soft tissue from air. To check the HU value of the surrounding soft tissue, simply hover your cursor over any location on the scan and check the HU display in your control panel. This panel displays the relative HU value based on the scalar value measured in your scanner. If you are experiencing overflow issues, it is likely due to an incorrect threshold value or due to a misplaced airway node. If you wish to make any edits to the airway after the initial drawing, you can edit individual nodes by reselecting the object in the slice view. Once you have completed your edits, right-click to finalize the object again. In some cases, you may need to cut out pieces of the airway object that extend beyond the intended region. You can sculpt out regions of the airway using the Airway Sculpting tool. While in the 3D view, left-click to activate the tool, and then click and drag to create a line. Once the line is drawn, select which side of the line to sculpt using the scissor icon. Notice that this will update the total volume calculation of the object. To generate an airway fly-through while in the 3D view, press the Play button in the control panel. The fly-through will follow the central axis we drew for the airway. If you wish to pause the fly-through at any time, you can press the Pause button or manipulate the 3D rendering window. Reverse playback is also enabled with the same controls. The speed of the fly-through is determined by the frames per view. The more frames per view, the slower the camera will move. A video can be exported from the airway fly-through using the Video Capture tool. By pressing Video Capture, you can again change the speed of the fly-through. You may also include a logo if desired. The airway data you've collected can be exported using the Export Airway Data tool. This tool provides spreadsheet data along with JPEG images of the charts seen in Invivo, an STL file of the airway, and a statistical summary file.